Good morning, ma'am. I wanted to ask if you have any tips or tricks for improving my English speaking skills.
Good morning. Absolutely. I'd be happy to help. One tip is to practice speaking English regularly, whether it's with friends, family, or even talking to yourself in front of a mirror.
That makes sense. Is there anything specific I should focus on during practice sessions?
Yes, try to focus on fluency and pronunciation. Don't worry too much about making mistakes. The important thing is to keep practicing and gradually improve over time.
Got it. Any other tips for improving pronunciation?
Sure. One helpful trick is to listen to native English speakers and try to mimic their pronunciation and intonation. You can also try tongue twisters to improve your clarity and agility in speaking.
That sounds like a fun way to practice. Do you have any recommendations for resources or apps I can use to supplement my learning?
Definitely, there are many great resources available online, such as language learning apps like Duolingo or Babbel, as well as websites like BBC Learning English or TED Talks for listening practice and exposure to different accents.
Thank you, ma'am. I will be sure to incorporate these tips and tricks into my English practice routine.
You're welcome. Remember, consistency is key. So try to practice a little bit every day, and you'll see improvement over time. Don't hesitate to ask if you have any more questions or need further assistance. Keep up the good work.
Ma'am, I often struggle with finding the right words when I speak. Do you have any advice for expanding my vocabulary?
Absolutely. One effective way to expand your vocabulary is by reading extensively. Try to read a variety of materials such as books, articles, and newspapers. Whenever you come across a new word, make a note of it and try to use it in sentences to reinforce your understanding.
That sounds like a great idea. Should I also focus on learning synonyms and antonyms?
Yes, learning synonyms and antonyms can definitely enrich your vocabulary and give you more flexibility in expressing yourself. You can use a thesaurus or vocabulary building apps to discover new words with similar or opposite meanings.
I will definitely give that a try. Sometimes I get nervous when speaking in front of others. Do you have any tips for overcoming nervousness?
It's natural to feel nervous, but one way to overcome it is through practice and preparation. Try to practice speaking in front of a mirror or with a supportive friend or family member. Additionally, deep breathing exercises can help calm your nerves before speaking engagements.
Thank you for the advice, ma'am. I'll work on incorporating these strategies into my English learning routine.
You're welcome. Remember, language learning is a journey. So be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. If you ever need extra support or guidance, don't hesitate to reach out. Keep up the great work.
Ma'am, I find it challenging to understand different English accents. Do you have any tips for improving my listening skills in that regard?
Of course, exposure is key. Try listening to various English accents through movies, TV shows, podcasts, and even music. Pay attention to the rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation differences among different speakers. Over time, your ear will become more attuned to understanding various accents.
That sounds like a good approach. Are there any specific resources or materials you recommend for practicing listening skills?
Yes, there are plenty of resources available online. You can try websites like esl-lab.com, where you can listen to recordings of conversations in different accents. and answer comprehension questions. Also, podcasts like English as a Second Language podcast offer a variety of topics spoken in clear, natural English.
That's helpful. Thank you. I will definitely check those out. Sometimes I struggle with understanding idioms and colloquial expressions. Any advice on how to tackle that?
Understanding idioms and colloquial expressions can be tricky, but exposure and context are key. Make a habit of noting down any idioms or expressions you encounter, and try to understand their meanings in different contexts. You can also use online resources or books dedicated to idiomatic expressions to deepen your understanding.
I will make sure to do that. Thank you so much for your guidance.
You're welcome. Remember, language learning is a gradual process. So be patient with yourself and keep practicing. If you ever have any questions or need further assistance, don't hesitate to ask. Keep up the excellent work.
Ma'am, I often struggle with maintaining a conversation in English, especially when I run out of things to say. Any tips on how to keep a conversation going?
Absolutely. One effective strategy is to ask open-ended questions that require more than just a simple yes or no answer. This encourages the other person to elaborate and keeps the conversation flowing. Also, actively listening to what the other person is saying and responding with genuine interest can help sustain the conversation.
That makes sense. Do you have any examples of open ended questions that I could use?
Sure. Instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" which can be answered with a simple yes or no, you could ask, "What did you do over the weekend?" This prompts the other person to share more details and opens up the conversation for further discussion.
I see. That's a subtle but effective difference. I will definitely try incorporating more open ended questions into my conversations.
Great! And don't forget to share your own experiences and opinions as well. A conversation is a two-way street. So by actively participating and engaging with the other person, you'll create a more enjoyable and fulfilling exchange.
Thank you for the advice, ma'am. I will work on putting it into practice.
You're welcome. Just keep practicing. And you'll become more comfortable and confident in your conversational skills over time. If you ever need additional guidance or support, feel free to reach out. Keep up the good work.
Ma'am, I struggle with understanding the subtle nuance of English, like sarcasm or humor. How can I improve my comprehension of these aspects?
Understanding sarcasm and humor can be challenging, especially in a second language. One approach is to immerse yourself in English-speaking environments, where you can observe how native speakers use sarcasm and humor in everyday conversations. You can also watch comedy shows or stand-up comedy specials to get a feel for the language and cultural references.
That sounds like a fun way to learn. Are there any specific comedians or shows you recommend for beginners?
Absolutely. Comedians like Ellen DeGeneres, Jerry Seinfeld, and John Mulaney often use humor that's relatively easy to understand and can help you get accustomed to the rhythm and delivery of comedic English. As for shows, sitcoms like Friends or The Office are great for picking up on subtle humor and cultural references.
Thanks for the recommendations, ma'am. I will definitely check them out. On last questions, how can I stay motivated and disciplined in my English learning journey?
Motivation can be a challenge, but setting realistic goals and tracking your progress can help keep you motivated. Try to incorporate English learning into your daily routine. by setting aside dedicated time for practice. Whether it's listening to podcasts during your commute or reading English books before bed. Additionally, finding a study buddy or joining a language exchange group can provide accountability and support along the way.
Those are excellent suggestions. I will make sure to implement them into my routine. Thank you so much for your guidance, ma'am.
You are welcome. Now start your English learning journey. Good luck.